Yeah, I don't really like this beat though, but that's how we starting the show, man. So normally I do a lot of video game commentary, but so many people have been so generously complimentary type of encouragery. No, they've been encouraging me to go ahead and talk to them about some real life stuff because I get a little too deep for a video game sometimes. And today I'm going to break some things down in a podcast form with a vlog slash podcast. I do want to keep the music rolling. I'm not sure how well that's going to work out. This is a beta test today on the format and structure of how I'm going to be doing these. I'm going to probably do them once a week on most likely like a Thursday. But today's the beta day. And there's a lot to say, a lot to talk about when it comes to what I'm trying to do. And the key for me is that I open up with the same thing I always open up with. And I always tell everybody. I ask all my viewers, I ask everyone listening or whatever you're doing to stop listening, to please ignore me. Turn off your PC, put your phone down, and get up. And if you live with somebody, give them a hug. Tell them you love them. Even if you don't love them, you should love them. So, force your brain to say what you should be doing. Then, if you don't have anybody in the house, make a friend. Walk outside, go to the corner store, hold the door for somebody. Help somebody on their day-to-day life. This is a benefit to the world. You remind people that not everybody's trying to rob them or do something wrong. Not everybody's selfish. So I ask my viewers this every single time I get online. Try to remind them that it's my disclaimer because I don't feel I'm important enough compared to what I'm asking them to do. So that is the disclaimer message, the beginning of how I would like to start the show. If you decide that you're going to do that later, then you're already in the wrong, and the rest of the show is for you because it's not going to be something light. I'm going to bring a little bit of heat and heaviness and real talk, as I'm considered this all out gamer guy. That is not even a quarter of who I am or what I do and what I stand for. So today I want to address pieces of it, and even that won't ever embody who I really am as a human. So many things. This said, we're going to go ahead and get into the real. Okay, guys? So, today's show is about knowledge. What is knowledge? Who has it? And who doesn't? Guess what? I don't. You don't. None of us do. We all have our perception of our truth, of what we think is right, real, and true. And we'll argue back and forth about this for days, years, eternities, if you let us. And the argument is opinion. I'm right, you're wrong. Or this is good and that's bad. Or, you know, I don't like this, you shouldn't like it either. And this personal, very personal, individual feeling or thought limits us from reaching a higher potential with the world, accepting that, yes, I like one specific thing, that doesn't mean everybody should like it also. It's okay if nobody likes what I like. It's okay if I am the outcast amongst millions of others. And it's difficult because growing up, these children tend to want acceptance, and people spend their whole lives looking for acceptance, whether it's with a job or you want to be validated through, oh, look, I got my career, I got my money. Or it can be lover, your emotional validation. I found my mate, I found the one, I'm getting married, I have a kid. And all of these things are ways for people to validate themselves. They grow up, they're children, and they want to validate themselves as adults, and how my life is complete now. I've done it all, and I've seen it all, and I know it all. But like I said before, knowledge itself, who has it? None of us. Why? Because your validation doesn't validate me. If I become a millionaire and I don't feel happy, then what makes you think that I'm validated? Like, oh my God, he's a millionaire. Wow. Or he's famous. Or look, he got married with 3 kids. Oh my God. And these expectations for each person should be different. Um, some people need to chase their dreams and goals and follow their hearts. Others will fall in love and settle for a nice, calm life. This doesn't take away from any of those two different people. One becomes a successful businessman, the other is a family man. And now it's like, okay, we can have best of both worlds, but what if we don't? Are we not complete as humans? Are we? So these debates and these conversations, people tend to really neglect the realities because they want to live in their own, and they're right and they know it all. And I'm putting myself in the category as well. So don't think that this conversation is targeting other people. I'm targeting myself. I'm targeting our race as a human being race. We have the arguments of, oh, well, iPhones are better than Android phones, or this car is better than that car, or these shoes are better than, Adidas is better than Nikes, Nikes is better than Adidas, and the debates continue throughout our lives in every aspect. And like I said, the validation of a human being isn't considered, oh, well, he's a millionaire, or oh, he's married with children, or oh, he's um, doing this or doing that. And these validations that people search for each day are individual. And you got to learn to accept yours, but respect the world's. And it's difficult for many people. And I'll tell a story that we all have seen with our own eyes or done as children. You watch a kid, and they're in a room with another kid. So let's say it's my room. I'm a 3-year old or whatever. I'm a 3-year old in my room, and they bring in some other kid to play in my room. The little kid grabs one of my toy cars and starts just having the time of his life. Sooner or later, me as a 3-year old, I'm watching him, and all of a sudden, that's my toy. I'll snatch it out of his hand. This is what happens. You've seen it all. I know you've seen it. A little kid snatched a toy out of somebody's hand. So he grabs the toy out of this kid's hand and pretty much rips it out from his existence. That's mine. That's mine. He doesn't really want to play with it. The kid doesn't want to play with the toy. He's basically just wanting to make sure that he has everything, and he feels jealous of this other guy. Oh my God, he's so happy. What is wrong with that? I got to take away my stuff. That's, you know, and this little kid thing is a great example because adults do it in different forms, in different manners, and they'll do the same thing to you. You get a new job, and you're working so hard, and all the managers are praising you, and you're doing great. And then there's an assistant manager who's getting jealous of you because they feel you're a threat to their jobs, and like you're gonna take away all their shine, and they're trying to move up. and they start treating you unfairly. And this happens in the job field plenty of times. So those are examples of the human mind and the limitations we have as people, and the insecurities that these people have. Now, I don't say this to you as some superior being who doesn't feel or think or have any emotions as well. I'm just as human as the rest of you guys and made plenty of mistakes. But in the end of the day, there's a certain um, type of mentality that you can have to be able to limit these limitations. How do you limit limitations, right? Somebody said it best recently, when asked what is freedom. They said freedom is no fear. What does that mean? Freedom is no fear. How do you have equal no fear into freedom? Well, let's look at it from a whole perspective, right? I want to have the freedom to do whatever I want without having any type of like insecurity about something. For example, I gained a little bit of weight. Now, taking my shirt off before, when I was at 18% body fat, you couldn't ask me to put my shirt on. I would legitimately walk around in stores, the grocery store or any store, without a shirt, and they would have to tell me, force me to put my shirt on. And that's because I lost a lot of weight and I was so proud of myself. And it was like, wow. Then I gained a little bit of weight, started wearing a shirt a little more, even in the heat. Got a little bit conscious and insecure. That's the truth. And what happened is I woke up to it and said, hey, man, calm down. You know, you gain a little weight. You're not dying. You're not dead. You're not a zombie or something. You're not a mutant. Relax. And I shook off that fear because I told myself, I said, calm it down. But these are realities. It's a small example of what I'm saying. But that fear, you know, of being insecure of my body or whatever you want to call it, is something man won't ever admit to. It's hard for people to just admit it. I'm happy to admit it. I'm happy to say that because guess what? I'm over it. And I'm overweight right now. Not a lot, but enough to be like, you know what, hit the gym, bro. So I'm happy to talk about that, but then I'm more happy that I feel free to be able to. And why do I feel free? Freedom, remember the conversation? Why do I feel? Because I don't have fear anymore. I'm like, I'll take my shirt off, whatever. I gain a little bit of weight. I just got to go to the gym. That's it. So these things are things in reality. The fear of, like me being, I hate to say this word, uh, feeling racism. I don't like talking about that subject because it's deeper than you can talk in one sitting. It's very, very deep. But the layers of that is that everywhere I go, I feel conscious of purposely making it like now that I've been treated the way that way with racism for years. I purposely walk in a store and be very visible to the owners and to the people working there so they can understand that I know that they see me, that that I'm not worried about them and they shouldn't worry about me. Like, hey, how you doing? What's going on? You want to come over here and help me out? And make them feel comfortable. Because at first I felt guilty. Like, wow, they really think I'm trying to steal. I went into a store as a teenager. My teacher asked me to go into this really expensive clothing store to check out a dress just to see what size they had for her. Now, this is a very, very expensive place, and I'm just a teenager. I go in there, and they treat me with pure disrespect. I haven't stole anything. Like, I'm not a thief. You know what I mean? So, when I went in there, I didn't have any type of theft mentality, no racial expectations, and this lady destroyed my mind to think that anytime I walk into a store, I'm a thief, that I need to prove that I'm not a thief. This is how she treated me. It was so bad that when I talked to my teacher, she came back to the store with me and basically went off on the lady. And this is one of the stories where the reality is these things happen every day. But as a human being, you can do your part better. Like now, I don't worry about that. I'll laugh at somebody calling me a thief or trying to treat me in that way, and I'll address them so that they can wake up to that reality. So, this is one of those things where you got to get to that place where you can face it head on and move forward. So now that said, just to say that, I talk about racism just for a second, just to acknowledge that the fear of talking about that mentality is the problem. So blacks and whites are oppressed because they don't want to have the conversation about racism, but it needs to be spoken, and it needs to be a dialogue that's just a casual conversation amongst us. If you're racist, that's okay. Guess what? You need help. That's really what it is. So we, as a nation, can be there for those people who have these negative emotions and feelings that they're going through. It's not my fault you're racist against Latinos. Yes, I'm Latino, but I didn't make you a racist towards me. So I shouldn't feel anger towards you because you feel racism towards me. I should actually feel sympathy and compassion and say, damn, you know what? This guy needs some help. I'm going to go to bed sleeping just fine. He's going to go to bed thinking about racist remarks or feelings or whatever. So those are the type of mentalities you got to have when you're dealing with society on every aspect. And it's like, at least look at the scope outside of yourself. And it's really hard. It's hard. I'm saying this now, but there are times, and there will be hundreds of times, you can quote me and judge me right now and take what I just said, and then 2 months down the line, I punched some guy in the face because he disrespected me and threatened me and did all this stuff, and I let my emotions get the best of me, and instead of being a logical human being, I let my emotions decide my actions, and there it is. You know. So those are the type of things where we deal with, somebody talking about their job and how people were jealous and saying things about them. Those are the type of realities we face every day. You don't have to think about race. It can be about just human beings. You wear a nice watch. Somebody really is jealous about the way you wear your watch or the things you say. They don't relate, or they don't even just, not that they don't relate, they're just not correlating what you're saying, the miscommunication or the misunderstanding or the bad perception. So, example, late night, if I see a uh, a nun walking down the street at late night, I'll be like, "Oh, God bless you." I should walk by. But if I see a dude in a hoodie coming late night towards me, I'm probably gonna brace my knuckles, check what he's wearing, what he's doing with his hands, and double think. So that prejudging nature is heavy in our head and heart. But we have to get to a place where we evolve as human beings to not allow this to derail who we are and what we're trying to do. And what I mean by that is that we have to evolve. People talk about this revolution and what's next for the world and what's gonna happen. I talk to the kids when I do these workshops and lectures in schools and high schools and stuff, and some colleges. I tend to address them as the future revolutionists. And what I explain to them is that your revolution is within yourself. Like, everybody want to talk about the world and society and how we can change it and what we could do, but that's not how it works, man. It starts with you. Like, you got to be prepared. If you're not prepared for a revolution, you can't be the revolution. You have to prepare your mind and heart, your emotions, your spirit, every part of you to be a revolutionist. What is a revolutionist? A revolution is somebody who helps make change, right? It doesn't have to be, oh, well, we through, we looted, and that's not a revolution. Whether that's part of it, yes, but the real revolutions always took place within the political side, as far as people standing up against the odds and uniting to create a movement together. And that takes people's minds being stronger than their bodies. Quick story about Martin Luther King that people don't know. There was a long time where he was doing everything he was doing, and he's a well-educated man. This dude got degrees left and right. He's not just some guy who spoke some really nice words. He was a well-educated gentleman. That was what the reason why they killed him, because he had too much knowledge. He was too smart and powerful, and it was a fear for those in power. Were like, wow, this guy can really take over everything. He's gonna end up ruling us. If Martin Luther King never died, he probably would have been the first black president, to say the least. But there's history says there's way more black presidents before Obama. There's actually 6 of them, I believe. But we ain't gonna get into that. But the point is, Martin Luther King was a well-educated man, but his whole entourage and him carried guns. Oh my God, is that's not true? Look it up. They used to have guns just like Malcolm X. Everybody talks about Malcolm X and being so forceful and having guns, and Malcolm X was way too violent, all this stuff. But Martin Luther King had guns because of the racism at that time. The cops will burn you alive, like they wouldn't care. It was worse than anything we've seen today. And they were in fear. They lived in fear. And it wasn't until Martin Luther King had this reporter who became his friend, kind of like there with him and helping him get to a better place. And he made Martin Luther King also realize that how can you preach a message of peace while you're carrying these weapons? So now I say that to you, the people that are listening, because in the end of the day, your revolution is just like Martin Luther King's. There's a dream inside of you, but that dream can only exist if you evolve your mind and heart and you prepare yourself for it. You don't have to go and march with the whole world. You don't have to do that. It's every day. Just like I said in the beginning, every day you walk around and everything you do in your life, whether you're in school, you're working, if you're not working and you're home, home is where you build your revolution with your family there. If you don't have family, you're going to make a family. You don't have to have blood related people in your life to have family. You can find family, people that care about you and people that you care about. You have to start somewhere. Oh, I don't have nobody. Well, guess what? Make somebody. And how do you make somebody? You have to take the steps towards building that friendship, building that relationship, growing that bond with that person. It takes a lot of effort from you to build that trust and respect and love. And from there, you build this growth with a human being and with the world around you. If you're going to work every day at 6 in the morning, guess what? Half of your neighbors see you when you leave to work, and they're thinking, damn, he's working hard. And in their mind, that is a small motivation that you will never know exists. But watching you go to work inspires them. That's a revolution in its own. Every single day that you're in the world doing small deeds like opening doors or saying good morning and smiling at somebody, that's a revolution in its own. This isn't about, oh, we need to destroy this, the government, or nothing crazy like that. That's not how the revolution begins or ends. It starts with you. You are the revolution. So, my message about knowledge and what I've been trying to say, I keep going back and forth and I'm everywhere with it because it's a lot to take in. Maybe you want to listen and then pause and then Google some stuff I'm saying and then go back to it. But in the end of the day, you live in that place where either you're destroying the world or you're helping it grow. And you ain't got to do all this unselfish stuff like all these great people do. You don't got to do all that. You just do you every day. Every day. Take care of your family. Every day. Take care of those people around you. You know what? Be nice to your neighbor, man. You don't know what they're going through. This is something I preach because I need to practice, and I tell myself this as often as I can to try to live that every day and not be the one who doesn't lead by example. So there's a lot I can do and a lot I need to do and a lot I will do as I go forward for my revolution. And like I said, what is a revolution? It's simply you growing as a man, you changing yourself and being a better human for the world and society. And that just takes effort, man. And it's really all about caring about yourself. It's like, you know what, I care about me enough to do good and feel good. Growing up in New York City, right? Every day you're watching your back that you don't get shot, robbed, stabbed. There's so many multiple dangers just every day. Walking to work or school, you got it every day. You got to stay on alert. It's a part of the struggle of New York City when you're in the ghetto. Of course, if you're in the upstate or something, you can be comfortable. But and the reality is, I lived in that mentality every day. Like, I could die right now. I could die right now. I could die right now. And you can die even if you're in a beautiful neighborhood. But the point is, I put myself in an environment and around certain situations that led that danger to exist every second of every day. So imagine you're paranoid about death every second. It's not a way to live, right? So the reason I explain that story is because that lifestyle comes for many millions. These poor people or people that are not even poor, they just put themselves in these predicaments of this lifestyle, um, and that's where the revolution dies, is because we're living in the wrong place and in the wrong time with the wrong energy, and we're not focused on ourselves and what can help us evolve. So the revolution again is simple. What I need to do for me, what I got to do to take care of mine, what I got to do to handle my business so I can move forward. Because guess what? The more higher you get up, those around you get to see you, at least, at minimum. They'll get to see you and say, damn, man, that dude John made it big. He's doing beautiful things. Or not even, you don't have to make it big. Damn, John found a wife. He got married, and he's happy. That's good. They have kids. Oh, that's so beautiful. They get to witness these beautiful things. You get to let them have these memories of somebody who's doing good in their life. That's a revolution to me. All right. So now, if you're going out there and you're doing some business stuff, your dream job is to own a restaurant, and you got a little baby small restaurant, but it's your restaurant and you're so happy about it. That's a revolution right there. Now, these dreams and these goals come with taking care of yours. That's all that it is. It's not some rocket science like, oh, well, to do me, I gotta. No, it can happen every day, man. Every day, you know. So, that said, it's complicated because I try to talk about what certain people's um happiness is, or what certain people's you know I'm complete is. And it's not about, oh, well, I'm complete now that I have $1 million. That's not going to complete you. It's not, oh, I'm very happy, I got my wife and kids. That's not a completion. It's your choice on what it is that you want to focus on in your life, what type of things you want to do. Some people want a lot of money. Some people want to be able to have their own projects and create them and enjoy. I'm the type of dude, like, my own projects mean the world to me. They're so much fun. It's like I got all the power. You're not a millionaire, but I got all the power in my little businesses, and I have fun doing it. And you build these relationships with these people you work with, that you hire, and you got this great bond. So I do that. And then I have my two kids who are my everything, and that's my revolution, is trying to be a better man for my children. And I have done it slowly, but the story is very long and powerful. And even now, I've broken so many habits and so many routines and lifestyle patterns, but there's still more, just mentally and emotionally, on how to dig in and change that, make those changes. And that's where the revolution, as I said, it's within yourself. And as a human that understands that, the whole, oh, I'm so knowledgeable. Nah, man, your knowledge is yours to keep. You want to try to share it, that's cool, but it's not yours. Today I was talking to someone about fitness. I gave them a lot of stuff, pictures and some videos of me. I lost over 50 pounds, but I explained to them one of the key things at the end was the way you lose the weight and how your body reacts to things is different. So there's no one right regimen. You can try as many different diets or workouts and lifestyle changes as you want until you get the right one for you. And that's where, like I said again, the revolution is choosing what's right for you and what's best, you know. And the things I'm doing now continue to be continue to evolve. People get upset with me. They're like, "Why don't you do YouTubes every week? Why don't you stream every day? Why don't you, like they just go on with a long list of stuff." And it's not like I don't want to, and it's not like that's not fun for me. It is. It's really cool. I really like this stuff. But there's certain levels to it on things that I want to do and then things that I can do and things that I like to do. So instead of streaming tonight, I would have probably wrote some of my book, which I haven't even finished, and it's a work in process. I would have worked on my book. I would have done my script for. I got a comic book script that I'm trying to touch up. Then I got my video game script that I've been working on, and there's a couple of things that I'm doing. But the point of that is that sometimes you got to choose your time wisely on what is important for you. And it's hard to juggle, right? So, how do we juggle it? How do you decide what is the best course of action for yourself? Do you sit here and hunt down hunt down the physical things that the world can see and that everybody wants to know, and oh, look at Mag, oh, he's doing his thing, oh man, he got these, yo, he just came from E3, oh man, he put out this video, or yo, he got this stream, he was talking about that, and all this hype, which I could have done when E3 came. But if you notice, if anybody pays attention that's listening now, I didn't really go crazy with E3 blasting the way I could. And I do that to humble myself and say, listen, you got a lot more things to focus on and goals to achieve. Don't sit here backwards and don't sit here behind. You want to be realistic and you want to be determined on what you're trying to do. So it's difficult to do that for yourself because you get caught in the rhythm, caught in the hype. After E3, all I'm thinking about is, building that hype. Oh, the hype train's coming, and do all this stuff for that. But I didn't, because I said to myself, listen, that'll come in time. Don't stress it. Don't worry. You got other things that's very important for you right now, and you got to keep building towards that. So it's really difficult as a human being, like I said, to stay focused on one thing or another, and that's where knowledge comes in key. And what do I mean by knowledge? I don't mean like, oh, you know everything. It's continuous knowledge where it's kind of like oxygen, where every day, everything you do is it's a part of you. Like there's certain things that you do every day that is natural, and some of them are terrible. Some of them are such bad habits that you can't break them, and you need to break them, but you don't know how to. You don't know where to start. You don't know. You don't even know you do them sometimes, and you might think nothing of it, but someone else might be nice enough to give you the knowledge and say, listen, that's kind of disrespectful the way you say this all the time. That's kind of racist the way you say that all the time. That's kind of mean the way you talked to this girl the other day. All these things, these people will give you that knowledge. And what I mean by continuous knowledge is that there's a difference between the stuff I do knowingly on purpose than when the stuff that just naturally happens. You know, when you're struggling to breathe and you have to try to breathe, you know what I mean. That is not continuous. That's not a natural thing. I can't breathe right now. I gotta catch my breath. Then there's every day while you sleep, while you eat, talk, all this oxygen in and out of you just comes. and it's a rhythm, and it's a pattern, and it's a life. So now we gotta feed ourselves this knowledge to the point where everything is natural and continuous, right? The continuous, not like, oh yeah, I know, because people will tell you they know, like everything I'm saying I know, right? But I promise you, I've been a hypocrite and went against my own words, and I promise you, in a year from now, or less, in a month, I'll probably go against something I just said that I should be doing or you should be doing. So, you sit here with this concept of knowledge, and I know, I know, I know. I don't care if you know. Like, shut up. Do you live it? Is it a continuous knowledge that flows through you? So this is something I try to preach to my kids about, learning the habits. You wake up for school, not because I gotta go to school, I gotta do math and English, and I explain to them math and English are cool, but no, this isn't what school is all about. It's very important to learn this, but what you need to learn is about waking up every morning, being responsible, because you're gonna be an adult one day. Be responsible, get to your job on time or earlier, hopefully earlier, just so you can be there prepared. When you get to your job, your brain is in focus mode. You are not thinking about anything or anyone except what your objective is. So school teaches you this so that when you go to work, you have the same mentality and you are not distracted by whatever nonsense, whether it's your personal life, coworkers, media, whatever it is that can distract you. You're not allowing this to exist in your world, because school is supposed to teach you to stay determined and to be focused on what is the objective. On top of that, school also teaches you how to socialize. There might be a teacher that doesn't treat you fairly in your opinion, but so will a boss. So will the competition when you're at a company, you own a company. So will all the business people and all your partners and everything. It's not supposed to be a walk in the park. When you have your own business, trust me, I know, I've been through several businesses, whether it's the government trying to take all my taxes, whether it's other competition cutting their prices to cut my throat. There's so many aspects to business that school can relate to, because it happens in school when you're socializing with these kids, and you're a kid and they're making fun of you, or they want to fight now, or he got the status because he's a football player or basketball player. Like me, I was the basketball player in my school, and I always wore gold jewelry that my mom got me when I was a kid. And I used to rock this leather jacket. Even in the summer, I would rock a leather jacket. People always remembered me. I have a haircut and a leather jacket on all times. Every week I get a haircut. Every day I wear my jacket, even in the summer. So it's a crazy status that I created. So I was the guy who people all knew, people all respected, girls all were around. The guys, yo, that's Mag, that's Mag. I used to be a music artist, so I'm talking about by the age of, what age was it? Eighth grade, whatever grade eighth grade is. 12 years old, I was doing this. So, the moral of that story is that, this perception in school that it's about math and English is really not. That is important, and you have to have all these fundamentals. But the key factor to teach you the core values in life is the social aspects of school, the determination of waking up and being on time and being focused and not letting distractions get in your way, and finding success through all of that by finishing your projects, whether it's math, English, or whatever it is. So you go into life with that habit. Now you're up every day at a certain time, 5 days a week. It's a routine. It's a pattern. These are things that we live by, and people don't see it and don't realize it. But you're being trained at an early age, kindergarten all the way to 12th grade. That's 13 years of your life. If you didn't go to pre-K, 13 years of your life that you spent getting programmed to be able to be successful in a corporation or job or in anything. So this is okay. This is a good thing. I'm not here to say that's bad. I'm saying knowing how to utilize that and keep that habit on everything else you do in life, whether it's fitness. For example, I need to get back on my fitness. Admittingly so. I've gotten a little bit heavy, but that's one of my flaws as a human who's preaching to you about stepping up your habits and routines and patterns and what you should do. Fitness is one of them. And the reason why fitness is important isn't because, like, oh, well, you want to be a model, so you should work out. No, who cares about a model? I want to live comfortable. I want to live with energy. If I don't exercise, I don't have enough energy. So I sit there and I do a 12-hour stream and I eat a bunch of crazy food and then I go to bed. The next morning, I wake up, I'm not feeling so energized. And it just happens. So if I put a little workout in my routines, you're going to see drastic results as far as my energy. Then my health is skyrocketing at my age. Or if you're young, you want to do it then because you still got the energy. And it's like, oh, you want to wait until you're 35, and then when you're 35, you're like, damn, I'm a little old. I can't really do what I used to. So these habits get created when you're young. If you're still young, you got the chance to do that. And even if you're old, you can break a lot of habits. I didn't break any of my habits until after I was 30 years old. Drinking, smoking, or any little bad habits that I don't want to get into all of those. When it comes to just the lifestyle of partying and stuff like that, I honestly didn't do it all until I was 30, and then it's like, okay, you're 30 now, like, and it's difficult because you created years of practice and routines and patterns and certain structures, and then the whole world expects you. It took me 3 years to not get a phone call at 3 a.m. Yo, what's up? What's up with the after party? Where you at? What are you doing? Let's go. And everybody's feeding me all of this. Where you at? What we doing? Because I was the guy. I had all the after parties. I had all the female friends. I would know a lot of females. I wouldn't um try to sleep with all of them, and that was the key. Is like I would have so many females who trust me and respect me, and I would have them all around. So all the guys thought I was the man. They would assume I'm messing around, and I'll tell them I'm not, but they won't believe me anyways. That's how bad it was. But the point of that is, they would call me, females and males. Hey, what you doing? What are you doing? Where you at? So by the time I stopped working VIP management for 3 years in a row, every night I would get calls. I had to keep my phone on silent, and I had to keep explaining to people, look, I'm not working clubs no more. I'm not doing any of that. Cut it out. Cut it out. Don't call me this late. Don't call me this late. And it took 3 years, hundreds of people, not 800, over, and I had two phones dealing with this nonsense, trying to manage all these people, and it took a while to break that habit. And the point of that story is that some habits are harder and easier than others. Some of them you don't even notice you do, and there's things that you need to change that you haven't tried to change yet, and you don't even know you need to change. And this is where the mirror comes into play. The mirror is the knowledge, and you need a friend who's real enough to tell you. So this is why I like, and this is where some people hate it, and I hate it, but I love it. I love journalism. I love the real journalism because they make you. It's for me, journalism is supposed to be about self-reflection. You look within yourself, you know, and you find out who you are. But we're talking about a product, right? Oh, this Toyota's new car, or video games, for example. I have a site for journalists, and they do their job. I don't bother them and tell them how to do their job because I want them to learn to be professionals. I instruct them to be professional, but I keep them free to do as they feel, and they write what they want, and I appreciate it because I want to see where their heart and mind is. And what I mean by that is, as a journalist, what I write about a piece can tell a lot about the way I think and feel. I can profile you off of what you write. And the reason I say that is because if I'm sitting here completely annihilating Toyota's new car and just criticizing every aspect of it, that's fine. There might be a lot of wrong things with it. But if I can't find a compliment in it, then that tells you a lot about me. And then vice versa. If I'm all compliments and no negatives, then That's also an issue. But there's a level of self-reflection in your writing, in what you're doing, and what you're saying to the world about something. So the way I analyze it might be a little more focused on the technical aspects, while your focus on your writing on the same product is about the experience and what you experience as somebody playing the game, or talking about the vehicle. So the reason I bring that up is because we need those friends who are our journalists to our lives. Are you a journalist to somebody's life? Are you there to help them reflect and have constructive criticism and grow as a human being through these simple breakdowns? Let's review. For example, my cousin would call me. This is a very true story, and it happens often, every day, or every week, every month, whoever. One of my friends will call me, as I'm the Dr. Phil of the friends, and they'll tell me, "Hey, um, hey, I'm going through this. This is what I did. This is what happened." They give me the whole rundown, and the facts are that in the end of the day, I get to I get to do a review on them, and I basically all I do. I don't do nothing special. I don't have the all knowledge and all power, and I'm not all mighty like people might think. You know, I just give them a review of what they say and let them look in the mirror so they can see themselves. And that actually is the best advice you can give somebody. Because even if you tell them you shouldn't do that, their heart might be set on doing it anyways. So trying to tell somebody what to do is the wrong way to go about it. What you want to do is help them see what they're doing and say, listen, man, what do you think is right? There's this, there's that. It's these things, you got to look at yourself and reflect on it and figure out for you. Because people are going to do whatever they want to do anyways. Sometimes they just want to have somebody there to talk to about it. But in reality, they're going to do what they want. And you can try to convince them, but that's not necessarily friendship to me. Friendship is being the mirror, caring enough to help them evaluate themselves instead of having an agenda and be like, well, maybe you should. That's not the way to go. So, anyway, um, that information there is a powerful one, because once you know that knowledge, you can do it for yourself, and you can look at yourself and say, I'm gonna step back from this. I'm not necessarily in the right place to talk about this person or say something bad. DMX talked to me one time, and I said this recently to some friends, but DMX said something really powerful to me, and we were just having a conversation in the early 2000s, and he was like, treat everybody good, because you never know when you're entertaining an angel. You never know when you're entertaining an angel. Treat them everybody good, right? And it was like, what the heck? And the more and more as life goes on, I don't know where he got that from. I'm sure it's a quote from somewhere, but it was so powerful. I didn't receive it at that time, but later on in life, I thought about it and said, damn, he's right. There's so many people who you might mistreat, but later on they are so important, and it's a humbling experience, and it's very humbling, and it's a beautiful thing, and it's kind of like, you know the the wake up. If you really get to the right place in your life, then you'll respect all humans, and see that you can be on the other side. Like, I met a man when I was younger, a homeless person, if you want to call him that, but he didn't have a home, and I just, people ask you for change and stuff, but this guy would never ask anybody for change. He was from my neighborhood. He'd just do his thing, collecting cans and just doing his thing. And one day I stopped him and I tried to offer him money without him asking, and he didn't want it. And we had a long conversation about what's going on with him. And this guy had it all. He was making a lot of money, had his wife and kids, and he lost it all. And in the perspective of that is that that could be any of us, and we all can go through some type of devastation that can cripple us completely, and we'll be on the opposite side of the fence. But people are so easily influenced to be able to say, "Oh, you just need to do this," or "You should do that," and everybody can say that, but not everybody can do that. And it was a humbling experience to have that conversation with him, because I just thought about all the people I met, and he isn't the only one that went through things in this nature where they lost it all. And I kind of lost it all, but I didn't end up in his situation. But I got lucky enough to have, backup and savings, and things worked out for me uh, before I could lose it all. I gave everything up to the mother of my kids. I didn't want to leave her with nothing, so she stood with the two cars, the house, pretty much everything. And I had to start over, which was perfectly fine with me, because that's how it goes. But I don't want to get too deep into that. But basically, for me, my kid, my son, who at that time wasn't older, he's old now, but it was a powerful struggle. That was the hardest thing to lose. So all the financial stuff wasn't nothing. So I think the perspective of it was still important, that I had the right mindset about it. Like, damn, you know. But it's a growth period, and it's an understanding of appreciation of what you have and you don't have, and what you could do with it. And we take everything for granted. Like me going to the corner store, for example, going to the corner store right now, getting myself a gallon of milk, and that's 1 gallon of milk, right? But what happens is, let's do a rewind. The guy that works in the store has to stock the milk. The guy who stocks the milk signs the sheet from the guy who delivered the milk. The guy who delivered the milk picked it up from the manager who owns the milk factory, who's processing the milk. The employees in the milk factory help process all the cow milk, and they create the bottle, and they create the cap, and they milk the cows. Then they also have to have another employees to feed the cows, keep them healthy. It's a big process. It's a long system that goes behind me going to the corner store and getting a milk at any time I want for $3. And that's just one product compared to the hundreds of products we can get in a grocery store. So with that said, are you grateful that you don't have to go work on the farm, milk your own cow, or graze a cow and feed the cow, or deliver the milk, or stock the milk, or do any of those, or charge the person and be the cashier to take the money for the, so all these different sides that we might not look at, because we're all just so conveniently privileged. So those are the privileges that we take for granted every day. So my whole information about knowledge is, don't take them for granted. Build better habits. And we don't know anything. We, like, I'm sharing all this information, and when I talk to the kids, you're so smart. I'm like, actually, I'm not. I went through a lot of mistakes to feel some sense of experience. Instead of being wise, wisdom is when you don't have to go through it, and you get the knowledge. Experience is when you're an idiot like me, and you go through so many things that you gain the experience of it. So it's a different ballpark. But that said, and I don't like calling myself an idiot in front of the kids. I'm saying that now just as a little joke reference about humbling myself to say I know nothing. And we all should be able to embrace knowing nothing, because if you are a sponge in a world full of water, then you will soak up all the good you can. You want to soak it up as much as possible. and I'm happy to receive all the information from anybody and everybody. And we all don't have that freedom to be that way. And what I mean by that, the freedom is taken away from us because we have so many fears. People will go to college and take a course on something they hate, like accounting. You know how many people I've seen say how much they hate accounting? I gotta do accounting. Oh, it's safe. It's a safe bet. It's a security job. It's like you know you're gonna get a job because accounting's important. So there's money there, and people want to take the course. Oh, I hate this. I hate this. I haven't heard many people say how much they love accounting, but I know a lot of people that took the courses and complained about it, but they took them. And the reason I'm saying that is not to talk bad about them, but to explain that their freedom was taken away because they're living in fear. They didn't want to do something they loved because they needed the money, and they just said, I'm just going to do this. So you look at those realities, it's pretty tough. A lot of weight onto what I'm trying to say here, but it's pretty basic, you know. So how do I live my dreams but still pay the rent, or how do you go there, and I do that in various ways personally because I'm a normal financially. I'm a normal guy. I don't think I'm normal at all, but financially I'm extremely normal. And right now I live in a apartment that I don't own. I'm renting an apartment in Boston, Mass, and this apartment is not mine, and it's not going to be mine ever. I can't buy this place. So I'm just renting it for now until I move out, get another one, or buy a house or do something that I can call my own. But in the end of the day, financially, I might not be at the greatest place, but I still make a lot of things happen. At this very moment, I'm having a documentary done that I filmed at E3. How did I get to E3? I got an invite, which was free, and then I get to E3 and showcase with my team of great cameramen who are very passionate about what they do. And I told them about my project, and I explained to them everything, and I told them what I could offer them, and they jumped on it in a heartbeat, and they thank me every day of the trip that we were in E3. Oh my God, it's so great! I can't believe it. Thank you so much. I love to be a part of this project, and that passion really, really moved me. And it was the best part of E3 was with those two cameramen and them showing their passion and their appreciation for the fact that I hired them to work for me, and it's basically working for me for free to a certain extent. I did offer them some things, but the project was pretty much free, but they're honored to do it, and I'm honored to have them because of that passion. So we build a passion project, and we're gonna have an amazing documentary, hopefully on Netflix or something. We're working out the distributing things as we go. The film is not even close to done. So, but the moral is this is the movement, and the goal is very, very, very simple. We want to provide an outlet. Like my vision for this, and I explained to them, is the voice of gaming. Every little kid and every teenager and their passion for gaming. What is that? How do you embody that? In the interviews I did, there's specific things in there that will address it. So we're trying to reach people in that level, and it's a pretty dope thing, to say the least, for me to share with the world. But the moral behind that is, I get too deep into the documentary. I didn't mean to, but this is not an infomercial. Basically, what I'm trying to talk about is the fact that I'm not a millionaire. I have a website. I have all these other projects that I'm doing with my heart and soul and my passion. You know, and that's what leads the way. And there's people behind me who are in the same boat with their hearts and passions, and we just make it happen. There's no magical finances. So, you know, I'm taking it one step at a time and moving forward, continuing in my passion. And like I so explained, I'm not experienced in film documentaries, not experienced in interviewing. I'm usually getting interviewed. I used to be a music artist, so I had people interviewing me, and I'm on the other side now doing the interviews. So it's like a whole different world for me. But the experience is a lot of fun, and I had a blast doing that film, and I want to do more, and I want to do a lot of different things. The key thing is, like I was saying earlier, writing my book and script for other projects also. So I'm just working on those, trying to get it together. And I know better than to try to act like I know all or I've done all or be all. I do share my knowledge, and I share it like if I do know all. So people tend to get a little brushed off, like this guy thinks he knows it all, or he talks like he know. It's like, no, actually I don't. I'm just happy to share my experience and my knowledge of what I've experienced. It doesn't mean it's right or wrong, or it's good or it's bad. It's about understanding that. Sorry. Understanding that my perspective isn't necessarily about right or wrong. It's about what I've been through, what I've experienced, and how I feel. So it's important for viewers watching this and those people who go online and Twitter and hear me talk. I mean, you got to understand, I don't say these things to think, oh, he knows it all. Today's message was because I really wanted to express it. I was inspired by a few things, whether it's some friends who are going through some things and they ask for my advice, or online some cool features that what I mean by features is people that I have conversations with that stick out to me. So it's kind of a feature in my mind, and I wanted to address it and speak about it and let the people who I have been talking to hear it and feel where I'm coming from. So, anyway, that was my overall message. I think I'm drained now. I'm gonna have a sip of water. If anybody even listens to this whole thing, God bless you, man. Like, the beginning was telling you to get off and go hug somebody, and I say that again. I don't know how could you last this long and listen to me for the whole project of discussing just natural things in life. And what drives me crazy is when people do these things and they're so informative and they try to paint people certain ways, they want to make them look miseducated, or I think it's Russell Brand or something like that. He's such a good educated man, but he looks like a madman when you look at him, you know. And there's definitely some good and bad. I don't want to get into not him, but people like him where they get crucified and treated like they crazy. If you say the word crazy, um, then you dismiss somebody, and it's like, oh yeah, they're crazy. It's a very dismissive term where it's like, I don't even want to think about that crazy person. I don't even want to talk about that crazy person. I ain't trying to deal with that crazy person. And people will keep you in that box. And this is where, our society has to stop, and we have to grow together and stop doing this to people. Even if they're wrong, there's a way to work through it and get better. You know. So, I'm done. If anybody has a question, hopefully I answered myself. Well, have me a drink of water. Cool. I don't know if the music is playing loud enough in the background, but the message today, what I labeled this, it was acknowledging the unacknowledged. And what is that? Who is that? What is that about? The unacknowledged to me is the fact that your knowledge is limited to you and your experience. So your perspective is yours, and you can't always throw that on top of the world. Everybody has different perspectives, different times of how they experience things, and how they move forward with it. And to sit here is definitely not the way to go, man. So you just gotta grow, 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 respect others' growths, and you continue to grow and continue to build. So here we go. We're on the chat, and they're talking about how their life changed. And they did a lot of things that supposedly changed. They go out with some new friends. They realize that, and they notice that nothing actually changed. So, so yeah. So, um, talking about that just to express that. What I'm saying there, with what you're saying when it comes to the beginning part of it, I'll say it like this. For example, nothing really changed. You say, and that's what I'm trying to explain is that you can change a lot. Like, okay, so I stopped drinking, and I used to drink a lot, but it was because I partied a lot, and I had a lot of women around me. They always want to drink, take a shot, and also wanted to change the way I approach with women. I was a ladies' man. I'll be honest. I don't want to say I'm a dog because I wasn't a dog, but I respect women. I treat women fairly. I never was a player or did anything too foul. But the fact is that that mentality of approaching women all the time was something I wanted to break. Not because I settled down, because it's like, you know what? You can't be this guy all the time who's always, you know, just smooth talking. So I had to try to stop that. So now, even though I stopped drinking, I didn't stop that. It was hard to stop that. It's a whole different ballgame, but it was associated with drinking more because I would get a little more loose at the clubs. I'm drinking and, oh, what's up, girl? How you doing? But even without drinking, I still had that habit, and I had to change it mentally and emotionally. Had to start detaching myself from that type of behavior, and it's not something that you do overnight. It's not something you do in a week. It takes time and effort, and and that's the thing is you got to grow. And what I explain about myself growing is I respect everybody's opinion. The reason we talked about everybody's personal knowledge and their experiences is that that's their opinions, but it's okay to listen to it and try to feed off of it. And what I mean by that is, like, you're sharing your experience, and it might be something that I can't relate to directly, but I can use it as an example, a parable in my life that I can grow from. And once you grow out of it, you can it's pretty amazing because you get to that place where everybody has purpose. You know, even the people who hate me and talk really bad to me or about me, I don't have ill will towards them. For example, I have nothing but love for these people. And I know it sounds like, what are you talking about? Basically, I've come to the place where I can receive that negative energy and turn it into a positive. And it would help me realize what I need to fix, and then also what I'm doing right. So they basically validate me in certain ways, and then they also motivate me to be better. So it's a great gift for these haters when they come around and they talk crazy. It helps. So it's not an easy thing, but you can get to that place where you open up your mind and heart. You can receive other people's opinions and thoughts and whatever they feel, and you can evaluate it to figure out where you're at and how you want to be and what you want to do, man. You know, that whole thing about being fed up, we all get fed up. We all get angry or sad or mad. And all these people who you see smiling all the time, man, don't believe the hype. You know, there's realistic issues happening every day to everybody. You know, there's rich people problems, and then there's poor people problems. It still affects people the same way. You know, if you look at the rate, suicide is pretty high for rich people, and it's because people think that they don't go through nothing. Oh, you got it made. What are you worrying about? And this is true to a certain extent, but a worry can be about the silliest things, and I can stress out about the most foolish thing, whether I'm rich or poor. It's a mentality more so than it is an actual problem. The problem isn't the issue, it's the way you want to receive it into your mind and heart, and how you want to perceive all of those aspects. So it's very important to know how to do that, and to get to that place where you can receive everybody or everything and look at it and use it to help you benefit your life, you know. So I like to share that information with the world, and give my insight on what I feel and think about it and how I go about it. um, Go ahead and ask me a question, man. I'm gonna go ahead and answer. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna close my balcony door. There's a dog on the loose out here. Okay, okay. So now we're getting a little deeper here. So pretty deep, deep, deep thing. Talking about an old friend and how you hugged her and she needed it. This is pretty powerful right now. You're hitting home because I've saved many lives, including my mother's life. Um, to tell a story before I finish your story, my mother went through a lot of mental issues, and I had to be there to be the one to try to save her. So it was a really difficult time to your mother's supposed to be the one taking care of you, but I had to be there for her, and um, it was pretty powerful, you know, for your mother to tell you how you're her savior. You saved her, not on some like, oh, my son saved me, like literally save your mom's life. But you're sharing a story about a friend who needed a hug that you hugged, and she thanked you so much because she wanted to kill herself. And with that hug, you changed her day and her life. And in reality, just small stuff like I was saying earlier. I don't know how long you were listening and tuning in to my madness, but in the beginning I talked about a revolution. And what is the revolution? You are the revolution. Every day you walk out in the street, you're a revolution. You're smiling, saying hello, making a friend, being kind, being warm, it's going to work, going to school, and all these different aspects that you do for yourself help the world. And that's a revolution in its own. And I was preaching that in this message about your friend who wanted to commit suicide, but you hugged her without knowing that she wanted to commit suicide, and she told you later on, years later, that you saved her. And that hug meant a lot to her, and it delighted her. And in reality, you gotta hold on to that, because every day, it's not asking a lot, and you don't have to do a lot. It's not like a chore, like, oh, I gotta go and be a good person. Guess what? You should be a good person. Guess what? You should be able to be a joy when I see you. I don't want to see you with a miserable face, anyways. But if you can have that smile and help someone else in the day also, even if you're having a bad day, you might make a difference in their life and in your own. So there's nothing to lose there. It's like, oh, I just made somebody's day, even though I'm miserable right now, not feeling too good. And that story is a perfect example of the revolution. That hug that you gave this girl was exactly what I'm describing as your revolution is every day and everything you do. And another word to say revolution, you can use whatever term you want to use. I'm just using that as the anchor to what the message. But you gotta understand that sometimes, like I said in the beginning, if you don't have friends or family you live with, that you can't just stop and turn this little stream off, then guess what? Make one. Go to the corner store, open a door for somebody, and be kind to them in some way in your neighborhood. And somebody that you care for and you push will really appreciate that. And you can build a friend. And it takes effort. Friendships aren't something that you just like, oh, you like basketball? Me too. We're friends now. No, you have to work at it. Text and call and be there for them, and you know, continuously approach them or put in an effort in some fashion. And this is about the growth, of you knowing that you have to give to receive, and it's a beautiful thing, but you have to be willing to do it. So, when you get to a point where you don't care anymore for like you're saying right now, you're commenting, feeling like you don't care anymore. Well, we all get like that. We all get to the point where it's like, what's the point? If this person is being mean, or that person's that, or this person don't call me no more, they ignore my call. They only call me once in a while, and take them 3 days to call me back. Why would I want to call him? Guess what? That person who doesn't answer you for 3 days is probably more depressed than you can ever imagine, more than you've ever been in your whole life. And it doesn't justify them not picking up your call, but they need you, and they need you more than ever. So that person that you ignored and you've already put on the blacklist of like, I'm not calling that person no more, because you're letting your pride eat at you. Are you selling your pride that low that you'll sell it for missing a phone call? Like, your pride is that weak that you will miss a phone they will miss your phone call for 3 days, and now they're not your friends, or you don't care about them anymore. Your pride is that weak that you get me. So don't allow that to happen um, when it comes to these people. And what happens in reality is sometimes some people are not good people. Some people going through things that you have no clue about, and they're suffering in ways in their minds. These great depressions, these anger, this envy, this really really darkness inside of them, and we'll judge their actions and say, "Oh, this person's dead wrong. Oh, they're horrible people." And we'll do some type of dismissal of them, but we don't realize that they're probably going through things. And this is not to say go deal with it and take their punches from them being bad. No, maybe you got to walk away. But as long as you give your best to the world, however it comes out is however it comes out. Like we did a documentary. I'll give you an example. I did a documentary, full hearted, gave my all, literally, physically, mentally, emotionally, financially. You can ask my camera crew, my friends, my family. Like, I've sacrificed everything to make this film happen at E3. And what I want to explain to you about it is I didn't get everything I wanted. I wanted to interview Kojima. I wanted to interview David Cage. There was a lot of things that I wanted to do that would have made the film exactly what I wanted. And to be honest, I didn't capture all the footage that I would want when it comes to certain people that I wanted to interview. I got to shake Kojima's hand and say hello. That was as far as it went with him. We didn't get to do the interview, just saying hi. But we're going to make the best of this film, and it's an amazing film because of how deep it got and how real it got. So at the end of the day, yeah, I wasted a lot of money and a lot of time. I had like 5 people at E3 working with me. I had an assistant carrying my bags that trip, which he didn't do a lot of it, but I'm just saying. So it was one of those difficult things. It was a really, really, really challenge, but in the end of the day, I did the best I can. When the film comes out, I'm gonna be so proud of it, just because of that. The film's not even done. I can't say it's gonna be a masterpiece or anything, but I'm proud of the film because of all the hard work we put in to get the footage. But that's just like human beings, man. Like, you can't expect a lot from people. Like, if I want to let somebody borrow money, I don't let them borrow it thinking I need this back. I better have it back. I'm just like, I'm gonna do them the favor and hopefully I get the money back. You understand? So it's one of those things where, as a people, we have to come to a better place and a better understanding with that. So I open a door and a girl's ungrateful. She don't say thank you. Guess what? I still open the door. That don't change the facts. Just because she's rude and she don't care, she don't appreciate, that don't change the facts of what I did. It's a gesture, a kind gesture for the day. It's the same thing with everything in society. You continue to chip away regardless of, like, oh, the government's corrupt. Why do I want to pay taxes when the government's corrupt? You have this argument. It's like, you know what? Those taxes actually help my son and get a financial aid when he goes to college, which he's not in college, but just an example. There's a couple good things out of it also that I can get. So let me not go crazy about this and do what I can. So that's where, like, some people just don't care and you don't care back. That's what you're saying, but in reality, you want to just give and hope for the best, and that's all you can do, man. You can't control people and stop them, So the message is about being a revolution, and every day you are the revolution. So never stop believing in that, and everything you can do. It's a matter of choice and change, and it comes from effort. And like I was trying to say earlier, you breaking the old habits that you have and creating new patterns that can change who you are, what you do, how you think, how you feel. Because some of us have pessimistic attitudes, these negative attitudes towards life. You play a video game, and instead of looking for all the great parts and enjoying the experience, you're like, oh, well, you see the robot over there, he doesn't move right, he does this animation wrong. And that's cool if you're writing an article. But the whole game, 90% of the game's fun. Yeah, there's a 10% bug on it, but that bug doesn't break the whole game. So it's like, what are you focusing on? Is your cup half full or half empty? So sometimes we get lost in the sauce, whether it's our emotions or our logic, our pride. Oh, this dude, I ain't going to, yo. And we let our pride defeat us because we won't say, you know what, forget about my pride. I'm just going to continue to put in my effort. For example, I got 3 sisters. They're very sensitive women. I love them to death, but they're 3 sisters and they're all very sensitive. And if I call and hang out with one too much, the other one gets a little like, oh, why you didn't come out with me? Why you invite me? If I invite one to go out to eat, I got to invite them all. It's just the way women work. and, and it's not that I love one more than the other or anything when I do those things. It's just the way things work. Sometimes you have certain conversations, certain type of relationships with one or two that is different from the others. And it's just like a parent with kids. It's not like they love their kids more than the other. It's like, you know what? I'm worried about Jimbo more than I am than Neo. Neo's a good kid. He's got everything together. But Jimbo needs some help, some backup, so I got to give him extra care. So then now I'm spending more time with Jimbo, and Neo's looking at me like, you don't love me? You don't love me? And it's like, no, I didn't say that. I'm just taking care of this kid. He got some problems. He got to work it out. So our perceptions get to be scrutinized ourselves, whether it's pride, jealousy, our emotions in whatever up or down fashion that it takes us. So you got to be able to control that and understand it, and then come to a place where you're evolved above it. You know, never let pride get in the way. For example, I've been in plenty of fights, so many fights that I've broken my hands several times, in people's faces, and I do boxing, but boxing came in after I already had a lot of fights, and then learning boxing, the discipline of it was really cool and everything, but the most thing that it taught me was about self-control. So now, like, if I'm at a bar and a guy's like, yo, man, you want to do it, and acting tough with me, I just tell him, hey, man, I apologize, man. I don't want no trouble, man. You right. I'm sorry. And I'll try to squash it, not because I'm afraid of him. I'm actually already sizing him up, and I'm like, okay, well, he's kind of heavy set, so I got to hit him a little harder on the temple if I want to try to knock him out. And but I'm being so humble towards him, and all he's seeing is, I'm so sorry. Hey, man, I don't want no problems. Or everything's all right, man. No worries. We good. I'm trying to cool him down and let him keep his pride, because his pride's gonna get him. His pride is gonna make me break my hand in his face. The reason why I say break my hand in his face is because when you fist fight somebody bare knuckles, you tend to break your hand. If you really hurt somebody, you have to break your hand. So I'm in the department of not getting destroyed. I'd rather not get destroyed, so I will defend myself when necessary. But I'm gladly humble myself and swallow my pride and tell the dude, hey, man, look, man, I apologize. And it's not because I can't knock the dude out. It's because it's not worth it. So now, where are you in your place and in your life? Are you at a place where you can say that and strongly believe that, and come to a place where you're like, okay, I'm here to receive this for real, and I'm not up and down, sideways, all over the place about how I really feel about all this. So, we tend to do that and let our emotions or our so-called logic take over. Ain't nobody gonna mess with me, and that's how we all are. We all have that mentality, and there's a certain level of that. Like, you don't want nobody to attack you. I will defend myself, like I said. But if I can diffuse a situation easily, hey, man, I apologize, man. I apologize. Even though I didn't do nothing wrong, I apologize, man. Let's squash it. But deep down inside, in the back of my head, I'm like, I'm gonna knock this guy out if I have to. But the point is, these are the type of things where you evolve as a human. You get to a better place, and you got to get to that place. And every day I go out and I do something, right, decent. That's like, oh look, I did a good deed or something. I don't expect it back. But guess what? Those people remember it, and it might be 5 years later, but like, oh hi, how you doing? Da, da, da. Something, some nice gesture that I might have needed that day. You know. So, for example, if you're nice to your neighbors and your house is burning down, they might actually tell you about it. But if you're a jerk, they're like, ah, whatever. It's a bad example, but the point is hopefully they'll tell you anyways. But being good to your neighbors is being good to yourself, because they're the ones that are right there. They can watch your house from being robbed, or call the cops if somebody's robbing your house and you're not home or something. You know what I mean? I know I would call the cops right away if I seen somebody robbing my neighbor. You know. But anyway, so that's how I feel about it, and we all have a lot of growth to do. When you come to a point where you understand and respect that, you can really evolve as a human being. You know. But yeah, so I think I'm done for the day. I said enough. Unless you guys got some more questions, I know that Jimbo's in here and Neo. I was addressing you guys a little bit, joking around. Um, yeah, that's my message for today, man. And just the way I started it, I ended. I'm probably gonna go play some video games now, but in the end of the day, you got to come to that place where you put in the maximum effort, and by that I mean going out there, calling your friends, calling your family, making new friends, or whatever it takes, and showing people you care enough. Because if not, it doesn't matter if it's your mother, your sister, your cousins. You know, the relationship can get stagnant, and you have to build that and have that effort. That is your revolution every day. Everything you do around your house, in your neighborhood, at your job, at your school, that's the revolution that you're living every day. Don't worry and wait for some Martin Luther King revolution. Every day is your revolution. Martin Luther King was living in his revolution as he went to school and he went to college. He was an educated man, and he was living that revolution before he ever spoke the word. I had a dream that all the black people and the white people will still be dealing with racism in 2017. Like his dream wasn't the actual word he said there. His whole life was the revolution, and he lived it well. And that's what we all have to do, and I myself have to do. And the fact, for example, Neo, that you're here in this forum discussing it, being open, honest about it, that's a good thing, because that's how you're open minded to receiving some information. You don't have to take my word for it. Experience it for yourself. Give my word a chance, right? And get out there every day and do something nice for somebody every day. Be out, go call your mom or your sister or your cousin. I want you to do me a favor. As a matter of fact, a relevant recent event. Russell Westbrook won the MVP last night. The NBA MVP. I don't know if you watch basketball, but he won the MVP last night. And in his speech, he made me cry. It wasn't when he cried about his mom and father. It wasn't none of that. It was when he talked about his brother. And I'll say his exact words more or less because it was really touching. Let me gather myself here. He said, "To my little brother, you're my role model. I look up to you." So now, he kept on, as I get emotional. He kept on because what he was saying was how his little brother would text him every day. I don't know how long Russell has been in the league, but it's been about 7 years I've been watching him for at least like 7 years. But he's been in the league for a pretty long time. And what I'm saying by that is that this kid, his brother, will text him every day at halftime for every game Russell Westbrook would have. They have 82 games a year. And for 82 games, his brother would text him. He was drafted in 2008. So he's been in the league for almost 10 years. 9 years of his life, his brother would text him every game on halftime. Russell Westbrook said he texted me every day, every game, and every day, and it means a lot. He's my backbone. He's my support. He does. It means so much to me. That's why you're my role model. And it was a powerful message about being there for people, making that extra call, making that extra text, making that extra visit to their house, giving them that extra hug if you live with them, telling them how much you care. These things people are afraid to do, uncomfortable, or just don't have the habit of doing. And freedom, again, means no fear. So have no fear. If you want to have real freedom in your life, go and hug that person, or make a person that you can hug. Make them. You can create the person by putting in an effort. And everybody needs somebody. And if you don't have nobody, go out there and be somebody for somebody. And I promise you there will be that somebody that's there for you as well. So that's the message here. The revolution is within you, man. And you can change the world. And I know you're probably listening to this and saying, not me. Yes, you can. Your world is the world. So change your world. That's where the knowledge comes in, as I was explaining how our individual knowledge is something that I've experienced or know or feel, and I'm expressing it, but it's mine. It's not yours. It's my world. It's my thoughts. We share the same building, but we have different views. So your world is yours, but only you can be the revolutionist in it, and only you can change it every day. Every moment that passes is a chance to turn it all around. You got to look within and find a deeper purpose and create better habits. So that's the message. And it's too raw, too deep, too real for the normal streaming. It's like, I'm going to church right now. Yep. That's pretty much what's happening right now. But I appreciate you listening through. I appreciate your kind words. In the end of the day, we are all on equal grounds and growth, and we all have to continue to prosper in whatever forms and fashions we need to. There's no wrong or right answer in all of this. One step at a time, man. But yeah, so that's the deal. That's the real deal right now. I expressed it all, put it all on the line. I don't think there's much more I could do unless there's questions. I'll be happy to talk about it. I'm going to chill for a couple more minutes before I get off, and then probably eat something or go to bed. One of the two. I haven't decided yet. It's been a good stream. I personally enjoyed this, and I'm going to be doing a lot more of this. I'm excited about it. Whew. Yeah, so I'm streaming on all platforms out here. A little reckless, but I'm enjoying it. I will be streaming again tomorrow, but it's gonna be more gameplay and some exclusive E3 stuff that I will address and talk about when I get a chance tomorrow. So that's just pretty much the deal, man. If anybody came on, you missed out on some deep thoughts and sharing my heart and soul, pieces of who I am and how I feel, and how I feel we all should live, and how we take things for granted so often, and we gotta start looking at them for what it really is. The perspective of life is deeper than ourselves. You know, like, oh, look what I got. That's all we think about. But that's not the purpose of living. In the end of the day, you won't take anything with you. So, the people around you, enjoying them, creating beautiful memories, and then, you know, treating the people around you good are the two key things, you know? And you just gotta go for yours. Go for yours. Whatever it is, just go for it. Because ain't nobody in the world gonna live your life. No matter what they say or do, how they try to control it or stop it or have an opinion, a good or a bad one, your life is yours. So you gotta make it the best possible while you can. Fail or not, that's fine. As long as you try and go for it. That is the revolution, guys. That is the revolution. Just live, love, life. You know? But I appreciate everybody that came out, everybody that's left a comment, those who just sneaked in and listened to my madness. Thank you very much. Won't see you soon. Tomorrow, I'll be back for more. All right, and we'll do some more questions and stuff, and I'll do a more open forum about video games tomorrow. None of this deeper life stuff, man. I appreciate y'all coming out. I'll see you soon. Peace.